Are we?
Oh, well, we'll just start over now.
Okay. I'm Chris.
And I'm Cherie.
And we can take our names off this
Yeah, if you
thing
haven't
here.
figured that out by now.
Okay.
Okay, audio's working now. Yay, hooray. We have had technical glitches after glitches tonight. So if you were there for the 5 o'clock premiere, thank you so much for your patience. Oh my gosh, my heart just broke when I saw that it only went to 480p because we spent countless hours trying to get that video done in 4K.
And all the time doing this and that and the other thing. And it was actually a bug in Final Cut Pro. For the final export, it lost its settings and just exported out one way. We'd been through all the previews and everything. Wow, it's looking great, and uploaded it, and just the way YouTube does things, we couldn't even tell it wasn't in 4K until we went to watch it. It was like, oh crap. So we tried again, and then YouTube threw up another curveball at us, is that their videos now have a background processing thing where they don't tell you how long it's going to take until the video is ready.
Well, it's ready. They immediately issue it at 360p. So my heart sank again, because here we just went and re-rendered the whole thing.
Yes.
And rescheduled the premiere for 8 o'clock, hoping that, okay, an hour would give us time to settle down from the chaos and everything else. And it's only showing at 360p. We just went backwards.
And I went and figured out and researched that YouTube has added as a feature that for videos to get out faster, they process them super fast to 360p. And they encourage you to wait a day or delay at least several hours, and eventually they'll process the HD version. So we delayed the premiere, and we're just hoping it would catch up in time. And at least they got the 1080 version done, and the 4K version should hopefully go.
Yes, the 4K should, yeah. So we're going to try to start doing more 4K video, especially on the travelogues, trying to get acclimated for it. We're going to be shooting 4K for our TV series on the RVers. So we're just learning more about 4K and how to use it properly. So it's all a learning experience, and everything else, it does produce better stuff. I know someone just said, most people can't push higher than 720p on their mobile devices, but not everyone watching our videos are on mobile devices. A lot of folks are watching at home television, dreaming and planning for their stuff. So,
and some people who have followed our advice in the mobile internet world, like us, we stream 4K all the time over cellular mobile internet to our big TVs and stuff.
Yeah, now that we have a 4K television, you know what? We don't watch schlocky 1080p anymore.
Well, yeah, we watch a lot of 1080, but and also for future proofing, because these videos will live on YouTube for years and years and years, and someday people will be watching on their 8K TV, and they'll maybe slum it a little bit and watch some 4K video, and we want to still be around for that. So hey, why not?
Exactly.
And it's fun.
Yeah. And Carrie says it might be a few years for most viewers to see 4K. But actually 4K is pretty standard now on YouTube. Most of the major YouTube channels are doing 4K. It's pretty standard now. So, so anyway, yes, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That was a lot of fun for us to look back on and see all the changes we made.
This boat, we look back particularly when we first moved in, before we even started to make it our own, until now, it is so night and day different. And I don't know. I mean, people chime in what was the favorite upgrade or thing that you would enjoy the most? Or
we are trying to decide what projects to document, because these things do take time, so we want to make sure that we're producing videos that are actually going to be enjoyable for us to produce and for you guys to view and useful. So definitely do give us feedback on that, and we're here to hang out a little bit, ask any questions you have about the boat upgrades, boat life in general. It's we did an impromptu one last weekend too, but and the super chat is turned on, so feel free to
make us happy.
Say thank you in that way, or go to our Say Thanks page and leave a direct tip. That always lights us up. Have we decided on an RV yet? We have put the Class B acquisition off until we're actually ready to move back to the bus.
Yeah, so we did a lot of research. We've got a really good idea of what we want, but we haven't done the zeroing in on finding that particular thing. We got getting the boat ready to leave Sanford became kind of all encompassing, trying to finish that solar project and everything, that we didn't have any brain cells left to devote to the Class B hunt, but we're still very excited about having a
yes.
van. Very
Oh, yeah.
excited.
Very, very, very much. So we are. So one of the impetuses for getting the Class B was so that we would have an RV to shoot because the RVers, the TV series that we're doing with PBS, and we needed an RV. But we are actually heading to our village rally next week, and we will be filming on site there with the producer of the RVers TV series. So our most immediate need for having an RV is gone away. We don't need that immediately because most of our segments are going to be done next week. Mm-hmm.
So I saw Main Bob asked about the home automation and lighting. He says, have we considered Alexa or Google Home? Have not ruled out anything yet. Default to Siri because we're basically an all Apple household, and I really like Apple's take on privacy. Both Google Home and Alexa, they're basically there for Google and or Amazon to learn more about you, and they, they're both good companies. They're both doing really cool stuff, but I like Apple's take of we don't want to know what Siri knows. Nothing goes back to Apple servers about what you say to Siri. So there's that, but there's there's definitely trade-offs to all of the different automation systems.
Mine says we took a Bayliner and made it into a beautiful home. Thank you. Do we see ourselves eventually getting a sailboat and doing what the Winds and now Dean is doing? I'm not sure who Dean is, but we know Gone with the Winds are dear friends of ours. We were RVers together, and we actually started our search with a sailboat back in 2010. Was it we started searching?
Yeah, we've got old blog posts of our sailboat quest, and we decided. We actually went down
to the Miami Boat Show.
Yeah, went to the Miami Boat Show. We went and looked at several boats for sale. We're actually looking for a boat. One of our criteria then was a boat that could we were looking for a sailboat that could do the Great Loop, which was really tricky because it needing the mast to go down and all that stuff. And just decided that it really wasn't a good fit for what we needed to do, particularly just the work-life balance and all the things like that.
Yeah, we still work full-time, so trying to work full-time and maintain a boat and learn everything boat maintenance just seemed too daunting. Maybe I like sailing. I'm just not sure that I have it in me to devote that much of my life towards the sailing as a lifestyle. So I'm not sure. I'm really loving cruising.
Ask us 10 years from now, maybe. We'll see.
5 years? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
But right now, love this boat.
Yeah. A motor yacht has been a great balance for us for boating, and it's got challenges. I mean, boats are a big step up from an RV and the challenge factor. But, we're really enjoying cruising. And, I love getting out there and sailing as a sport. But most sailors we know and the types of places we're going, they end up motoring so often. And then you got the compromised living space.
Oh, I see Jake the massage guy says his Alexa bongs at him when we're saying, "Hey, Alexa."
Yeah, we got to meet Jake the massage guy when we're out van shopping.
Yes.
Awesome. I got a couple questions about the bus. It says,
we miss our bus.
Yes, we do. Did you sell the bus?
No.
The bus is in storage in Texas, and we are intending to return to it perhaps as early as this summer. We're no clue what we're doing this year.
Yeah, we haven't planned. We've planned basically into April, and not really beyond that. So we know we're doing our village rally at the end of this month, and
we know we're in Jacksonville,
and we're going to be starting April in Jacksonville. Then we come to the Intercoastal Waterway, and we can either go left or go right, and we haven't even decided which way we're going to go when we get there. So
yeah, we're playing things by ear, but some of our plans or potential plans have us storing the boat for the summer somewhere safe for hurricane season, and not doing another summer in Florida or
on the boat,
and
do an RV trip,
doing like RVing around in Colorado, Wyoming, some of the places that we haven't spent enough summertime in. So we're playing around with ideas right now. So they're all ideas. Don't commit anything to this as a plan. Let's see. When is the TV series coming out on PBS? So last we talked with the producer just a couple weeks ago. Funding they've gotten a lot of interest and a lot of sponsors coming on board with it. So the show is definitely a go. They are pushing production up. Originally, they're aiming for end of this year, and it's looking like it could. They were telling us fall or summer. So the first episodes could be coming out. So we're super excited. So that's why we're doing all the filming next week, and those episodes will go into production. The production crew, the producer also produces the series The Aviators on PBS, and they are production crew, and that is pushing to complete season 8 on that. They are going to their 8th season on that.
If you've never seen The Aviators, when he told us go watch my other show and tell me what you think, and we watched it, and it was like, okay, this is like a seriously amazing show. It makes aviation seem so exciting, and aviation is. And we're like, how are you going to make RVing seem that exciting? Because we're not flying with the Blue Angels. So, but he's got the same production crew, and they do such incredible work. So it should be exciting.
See, we got to vote for. Love to see more about the electronics at some point. Nav, CVT, all that sort of stuff. The marine electronics, I mean, ours are just kind of run of the mill. I mean, there's nothing really unique about our marine electronics. We just went with standard Garmin stuff. I mean, it's
at some point
every boater's got it.
Yeah, and we're still not experts at doing all the things. Like just today, I was like learning how to track targets with the radar and like being able to identify other boats and see, okay, have the radar tell me how fast they're moving. That's kind of fun. It's like, okay, that boat over there is going 44 knots across the lake, but we're still learning all the fun things our electronics can do.
Definitely not experts at marine electronics, and I fear sharing too much about it, and people assuming we're experts, and we're not.
We picked the Garmin system because we went and tried several of them and did a bunch of research, but it's because Garmin had bought Active Captain and Navionics, so just because Garmin is eating up everything else, like we really love Navionics charts and love the Navionics app. And so that Garmin is incorporating that and now owns Navionics. Okay, that's a reason for Garmin. And then the Garmin UI was the most intuitive, just to start poking buttons and making it do things. Really like that approach to things. So did some research, but I did not dive super deep into all the other options out there.
Right. Yeah.
We decided pretty quickly. Like
we had to. We're kind of like, okay, yeah, we have that.
But we do have the cool electronics, like our
Victron.
Yeah, Magic. Showing our electrical powers and stuff. That's something we've been much more of an expert on because we've been using it for this sort of system for a very long time.
Cool. Biohazard asks, have we considered getting a kayak? And we do have an inflatable kayak that we carry in the bus, and we had it aboard the boat for the first 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, before we had the dinghy.
We used it basically as our dinghy. And we decided that a paddleboard makes more sense on the boat.
Yeah, and it's been kind of fun because when people ask us, oh, wow, you got this big 47-foot boat. What boating experience did you have before this? And it's like, oh, well, we had an inflatable kayak for years. And that's basically it. Went from inflatable kayak to 47-foot boat.
Yeah, the cool thing about the stand-up paddleboard is, it's just cool. It's easier to store. It's thinner. And it's inflatable as well, and you can sit on it and use it like a kayak, so it's kind of dual purpose. You can even buy seats for them if you really want to, but we thought we might get 2 inflatable
paddleboards,
but we actually really enjoy having one when we're at anchor. It gives each of us the opportunity to go out and do something on our own.
And lately we've been like almost every day we've each done gone out for a paddle and go for 20 minutes just to get some chill time and get some exercise, and the paddleboard's been a lot of fun.
Yep. And 2 of them would be a lot more difficult to manage on the boat for storage. So let's see. As we have comments on people enjoying our St. John's River cruise stuff in the time lapse. So yeah, that was fun to put. I'm really glad we delayed producing the St. John's River cruise episodes until we were getting ready to leave Sanford after that 4-month stay, because it really invigorated us to get the heck out of Sanford. I love Sanford. It was really hard to leave Sanford last week.
But the videos of like, oh wow, cruising is beautiful, and look how
it's like, I'm so excited
to get back on anchor, and it's we left. Has it been a week yet?
Yeah, 1 week ago today.
Yeah, 1 week ago today. So we've been on the water again for a week, and it's just great to be away from the dock and to be living on our own independent systems and to be dinghying ashore and having little dinghy adventures and to be in our own little island, as opposed to Sanford was like this whole big world around us, and now we're back to being our own little VIP island and that kind of fun.
Let's see. How do we secure our Macs when we are underway, either in the boat or the RV? So the RV, we actually have a seatbelt system built to our desks. So you can go look at, we actually have a video on that if you go look at our RV office tour. On the boat, we have the intention of building a similar seatbelt system, but I pretty much just turn it off and lay it down on the couch.
So actually have a little metal base that will fit right across the back of the bottom of the Mac's foot and can bolt to the desktop. And it's been sitting here waiting to be installed ever since we moved on, but we've been cruising such calm waters that even when we have that, most of the days we don't even think about it. We leave the
unless we're planning to go up on plane, because about every 3 engine hours, because we putter at trawler speed, kind of running about 1100, 1200 RPM, but every 3 hours the Cummins engines in the turbos need to be heated up and really go. So on days that we know that we're going to have the opportunity to go up on plane, because we know there's going to be open water, there's going to be zones that allow it, we do take the computer down for those.
And just set it on the couch behind us, and other than that, it's been fine.
Let's see. Fleetwood Bounder would like to know. It's flipping all around. Friends and I are planning a 2-week transfer of a 30-foot trawler from Stuart, Florida to New York, New York. In the ICW, do you think that's a reasonable time frame?
2 weeks? We're thinking 2 years. Maybe.
So it has taken us 2 years to get from Punta Gorda, Florida to Jacksonville area. So our idea of what's a reasonable time frame is very different from most people. So you're probably the very wrong people to ask.
And since we haven't done it before, I definitely go check in with people. There's a lot of go to the Active Captain group on Facebook is actually a great place for that sort of question. And you'll hear 700 opinions. Actually, I think somebody asked almost that exact question very recently, and it turned into a big fight and a debate of like, well, it depends on whether you're doing this or this and this, because there's no real one answer, but at least you get a lot of opinions from people who've done it.
Really depends upon your competency. Are you doing it just as a transfer,
or are you trying to enjoy the trip?
Yeah. So we are the exact wrong people to ask for that. Especially, we've not made it out of Florida yet.
Yeah. It's been kind of fun going down the St. John River, because for us this is a 2-week trip between Sanford and Jacksonville, and our dock neighbor up in Sanford bought a new boat in Jacksonville and brought it back in just 1 day. So
8 hours.
They did it at high throttle, 1 day, just cranked it out, and that's a 2-week trip for us.
Yeah, 2 weeks we're taking to do the St. John's River, 140 miles. So our scale is very different from a lot of people's.
But yeah, we're looking forward to our big 12-mile day tomorrow. It's exciting, and we did 28 miles. Yesterday.
We did a big day yesterday.
Yeah.
We cruised all of 3 or 4 hours. Yes. So Mine says, I know it would cost a lot for shipping your boat, but have you considered doing the inside passage? And I'm assuming you're referring to Alaska.
In a different boat someday.
If we switch to cruising in other areas, we would probably
buy a boat appropriate for that.
There's a lot of shipping costs in a boat, and there's also a lot of risk to the boat in the shipping process. So it would probably make better sense for us to
somebody sent us $10.
Get a boat specifically for a different journey. And
actually, I mean, the Bayliner 4788 is very popular up there. It would almost make more sense to sell, if we wanted to do that, is to go rent one up there and or boat swap with somebody actually, and for a month.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to find another Bayliner 4788 owner
who
in
wanted
Alaska,
to swap coasts,
who wanted to do East Coast sailing while we did. Yeah, that would be the
ideal way to do it. Because we know each other's boats pretty well.
Yeah, at least the basics anyway. So someone just sent us $10. Diane, thank you, Diane. Thanks for visiting with us, and thank you for visiting with us. We love it. We love that the Super Chat is actually really fun. So that's a great way to make your questions stand out too, so that they don't, because the screen goes all over the place.
Yeah, the chat interface bounces up and down, and it's so. We apologize if we're missing your questions.
Yep.
But we're trying to keep up on what's scrolling past.
Yes. Lulu wants to know, we'll be narrating on the TV show. So on the RVers PBS TV show, we are the technology hosts. So we will be covering a variety of different topics, both us presenting as well as interviewing other industry experts in technology. Yeah, and we'll just be kind of figuring out how it all shapes together. Particularly as the first season comes together, they'll be figuring out the formulas of how the show works and stuff, and
but what our pieces of it'll be.
Yes, and we're super thrilled. We just got off a call before we tried the first version of the premiere with Peter and John of the RV Geeks, who are the Class A hosts, and they were shooting today. So it's been really fun to compare notes with them.
Yeah, they're getting really into it. They went out and bought a big fancy camera, and they're
trying to show us up.
Yeah, they definitely are trying to show everyone up. They're but they've always done some amazing video work.
Oh, they are amazing.
If you haven't checked out the RV Geeks, watch their channel.
Yes. It's Ken from Sanford. Thank you, Ken. He was one of our dock mates there, and came to our rescue with some solar mounts.
Yes.
When when the thing said, he says, with our new solar array, do you have any way to get your data to NMEA whatever?
NMEA 2000 out of Victron. We did not put there is an actual interface I think you can get that will go straight from the Victron V direct to NMEA 2000, but we're going to actually have it relayed through the Venus, the Victron's little Venus brain, and Victron in the next version of their firmware, which I'm about to get a beta of, is going to start to enable some NMEA relay features through the Venus. So the brain that's driving this, ding, zoom in, there we go. The brain that's driving this is a little box under behind our fridge, and it takes in a lot of inputs and can take in NMEA inputs, and it will eventually be spitting NMEA out. I'm not sure what else, because I don't know what will actually do anything with solar on an NMEA bus right now, but it'll let us certainly see the inverter status and the battery status. And yeah, so playing with all that stuff.
All right. Greg just sent a $19.99 super chat. He says he's having fun watching a swing on the hook.
Are you seeing the little lights moving behind us? Because we are.
Yes, we are actually off of Balaka right now, and those lights look a lot closer than they did during the day. I don't think we've drug.
No, I don't think we. I actually do need to make sure we set an anchor alarm before night. But actually, I think we're about to have our first tidal shift since we went up the river.
Really? Because we've been isolated from the tides.
We're finally we crossed Lake George, so we're back to the north side of Lake George, and we're back under tidal influence. There's a very little bit of tide that gets all the way up to here.
Yeah, so we actually we've been in pretty isolated areas. I love kind of the Lake George and south of here, because there's so many secluded anchorages where you just really feel you're out there. So it's kind of fun. We went ashore today for the first, and actually walked around a little town. Went to Shrimps
or Us in Malacca has got some of the best fish, and Cherie says some of the best shrimp she's ever had. So definitely, if you're ever cruising past Malacca or driving past Malacca, check out Shrimps or Us. It's the only restaurant in town, but oh my god, it's amazing. And it's walking distance from the Freetown dock, so we dinghied over.
Eric wants to know, when will you guys be traveling up the East Coast? And
we have been and continue.
Yep, we have been traveling up the East Coast. So we started our journey in Punta Gorda and came up the Florida ICW this last summer.
I'm very much looking forward to some of the East Coast things, like going into Washington D.C. and exploring Washington D.C. by boat, or cruising past the Statue of Liberty, and going to Philadelphia. We mentioned somebody was in Philadelphia. It's like there's all this East Coast stuff, but we're no rush to get to it, but we will eventually.
Yeah, eventually. We're really, really enjoying the slow pace.
Yep.
It's been awesome. Let's see. Gray would like to know, do you think electric boats, maybe at a small scale at first, will ever take a foothold like the cars have somewhat? Is it Green Line is doing
Green Line is one to check out. They've got hybrid electric boats. I do expect, and there's some really interesting stuff being done at the high end with hybrid electric boats. And even full ones that can generate enough solar to basically power themselves. There's some really interesting stuff being done. It's super high end and expensive, but hopefully will percolate on down. Or also check out if you want to see it on the cheap, check out Sailing Uma.
Yeah, they did an electric boat.
They did an electric drive on their sailboat, and they did it homemade on the cheap, and have done a really well documented, beautiful project. So check out Sailing Uma.
Bill Cowan was, what's the name of the show? The TV show is The RVers.
Yes.
Really easy to forget. Jake would say, do you plan on going north through Vermont to the St. Lawrence eventually? Any plans any plan for the route.
Lake Champlain is high on the list.
Yeah, that's one reason we are making so much effort to keep our RV is we really want to spend several cruising seasons up north where apparently it gets cold or something and
They
you
have
have like this white stuff.
Yeah, so they have winter, so you have to store your boat or flee back south. We don't want to do
Keep
that. So
fleeing back and forth.
we'll find places up north, and maybe our boat will spend a winter in Vermont while we go off and ski and then go back to the RV or something.
So that is the eventual goal.
Yep.
And so we really want to spend a lot of time exploring up that way. You want to spend a lot of time exploring everywhere, but life's only so long.
Kayaker Jack says we more solar panels to install. So yeah, we only were able to put up 2. We've still got 2 more sitting there, and they're just going to be continuing the back. They'll continue to become the roof of the rest of the flybridge.
Right. So in early February, we found a fabricator in the Sanford area who had designed a solar panel mount that would integrate into the existing Bimini hardware. And he came out for a test fit on it about a week before we were planning to leave. And he basically said, yeah, everything's good. Just a couple modifications and I'll be back out in 2 days and we'll get it installed.
And yeah, and then he had, I mean, it was there. You saw the really quick time lapse in the middle of the premiere video we did was the test fit where we had this big giant frame that had space for all 4 panels and it actually had a skylight in the middle, so we'd be able to have light come in and then slide the skylight open and go up top and clean the panels. And it was a really nice design, but it was the little details ended up being more complicated than he realized, and he couldn't finish it. And
he got overwhelmed with it. And he kept delaying the final installation until finally we're trying to nail down. And you're coming out Sunday or Monday. Pick one of the two.
We're leaving this week. We need to have the solar installed. And he basically showed up and he said, I just can't do it. He did give us back all the deposit we'd paid, and he's eating the cost of the materials because he'd spent the money, built the frame. But he couldn't finish the project, and so
that meant that Chris and our friend Joe, the computer guy, who's usually a moderator on these chats, but he's volunteering at the RV Entrepreneur Summit this week, and Ron, a friend of ours who also owns a Bayliner 4780, spent a lot of time getting the boat wired up and ready for these panels to go in. They're both here for the test fit, and. Yeah, that just left us with, we either have these 4 huge panels that we have to transport on the boat until we find someone. But Joe came back over and he and Chris...
Me and Joe worked out a way to use ratchet straps, pool noodles, and clamps. I was actually able to buy the clamps from the fabricator, the clamps he was going to use for the project. I bought them from him, so... He didn't have to throw away the clamps or find other uses for them, and I was able to use some of them to get 2 of the 4 panels mounted.
So now we are on the lookout for a fabricator who maybe has some more confidence and to get the right panel mount up there so that we can get all 4 safely mounted. But for now, we're just running the 720 watts, and it's been doing really well. It's been keeping up with our daily loads really nicely.
Yeah, during the day, we're basically not break even. We're occasionally charge the batteries a little bit, but basically we end the day where we start it. But then at night we go down. So we still need to run the generator an hour or 2 every day. And we'd like to get that down to significantly less.
Okay. Biohazard says, how fast does the boat go up when on plane? So let's see, we took her up on knots. Plane. I think I got up to 19.3 knots when I went up on plane yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Floored all out 19.3 at the moment.
But then I throttled back 10% because the Cummins are...
Yeah, so you don't leave it at full speed. So we can cruise on plane
about 16, 17.
16, 17.
Let's see. Tom says he's finally starting to shop for a boat. The Bayliner 4788 is still on his top 10, but since he'll be cruising alone, he wonders if it's too big. Would both of us be okay if we had to handle it alone? And I don't think so.
In an emergency, we know people who have a 4788 who's single-handed, but
the prior owner of this one did.
Yeah, the prior owner of this one did. It's right on the edge of being too big to single hand. So
you'd
want to have a lot of experience
and probably a remote windlass and things like that. But yeah, if you've got The boating experience, sure. I mean, it's going to be an experience thing. I would not be comfortable single-handing this. I mean, most of the time, driving it's easy enough. It's the docking part and the anchoring part that it really helps to have a team with something this large.
Yeah, and I feel in an emergency I could get this boat docked single-handedly, but it would be
a challenge
of major stress. And I love having a teammate that because we rock it together. So,
yes. What is our fuel range? So we have 440 gallons on board, and we don't like to go below about 30-40%. And we burn about 2 miles to the gallon, or we burn about 3 gallons an hour. So we consider about 300 or 400 miles is about when we refill, but we could of course push that up to more closer to 600 or so and still be safe.
Yep. Richard wants to know, will this video be archived? And yes, this is not a private one. Okay. Oops. So, the chat box is bouncing around.
Yes, it is.
Diane wants to know where she can see the Aviators show.
Aviators is also on PBS.
Yeah, but if you just search for the Aviators TV, they've got a website. I think you can actually subscribe and become a member of their site and get access to the past seasons and stuff, so you can watch it on demand.
And I think it's on Amazon Prime and Hulu, as will our the RVers TV show as well when that comes out. So when our show comes out, each individual PBS station will be purchasing it and scheduling it
when they
want. So it's not going to say, we're not going to be able to announce, hey, catch us Thursday evening at 6 p.m. or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's going to be
every PBS station does it.
It's going to be check your local PBS station or wait for it to come out on Amazon Prime, Hulu, and that sort of stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Our monitor reflects in the windows behind you. Well, that's kind of the facts of technology.
Yep. Oh, yeah. There it is.
Let's see. Do you have any Great Loop limitations or anxieties due to air draft? So we specifically purchased a boat that would be under the 19-foot, 8-inch, whatever the Chicago bridge is. But we specifically wanted to have the flexibility to do the Western Erie
and Lake Champlain,
which are both historic side trips, is really off the loop. And that has fixed bridges at 5 inches. Thereabouts. So our boat, if we take off all the lights and the radar off the top of the radar arch, we are right at that. But this specific boat, the prior owner had already modified the arch, so it
has a hydraulic pump, and
so we can get down to 13 feet. And of course, the solar panels installation will have a little bit of deconstruction to get below that, but left up will still be at 15.5.
Right. Yeah. So. If and when we get to the point of doing the Western Erie, that's really the only place that we basically dismantle if we spend 2 weeks or something crossing that section of the thing. Yeah. That's when we take the solar panels off and stuff like that for that span. But other than that, we're easily under just about everything we come across, even going into Lake Champlain, which is a 17.5-foot bridge.
Yep. But definitely something, if the Great Loop or doing some of these side trips is on your agendas, keep that in mind.
Yeah, because there's a lot of boats that just are stopped. They can't get through Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a friend of ours. He is currently contemplating doing the Chicago port. He's done
the Great U, basically.
Because he's always, and they're right at the level of the Chicago, and he's like right now researching pool depths and changing things. And if he gets up there and is willing to wait it out, if he can get under it, but he's like talking inches, right, because his boat is just slightly too tall.
Right. So we won't have that stress. We can go through Chicago, no problem.
All right. Do we have bow thruster? Yes, we do have a bow thruster.
Love having a bow thruster.
And biohazard. Does the ventless combo-matic dry well? I heard people complaints. It's different. Mm-hmm. The clothes come out initially feeling slightly damp, but you just shake them out, and the humidity just releases into the air.
You've got to kind of learn the quirks, and it actually does a pretty good job, but you definitely need to learn the quirks and
And
not overload it, because it does not dry at all if it's overloaded.
But most of the time, if we're in places where there aren't midges and birds pooping on your boat all the time, we prefer drying outside. We got really used to that with the old washer.
Right, because we had been for years with the washer that had no drying capability whatsoever. So
in Sanford, we couldn't really do that too often because
bird poop.
Oh God, the bird poop. Oh my gosh. So we didn't line dry that much for that reason, but in a lot of places where we just line dry outside, and I just love the fresh air. All right. I think that we have reached the end of the chat.
We're caught up with chat. Awesome. Oh, biohazard. So what solar panels did we get? We got a Solaria's 360 watt panels, right? I think that's what I got.
They're residential panels. We decided not to go for more expensive marine ones or necessarily the top of the line ones.
Got a they're in the top 5 of aerial efficiency of all panels, and they mostly the main criteria I got was what fit the dimensions I needed to make a hardtop, to have 4 panels, give us the most power possible, and also the most and fit the space to give us a roof. Sun power panels would be the best. They would have been also about 3 times the cost, maybe 4 times the cost. And then there's all sorts of fancy marine panels that would have been less power and 10 times the cost. So, but that they would have been warranted for crossing an ocean, which we're really not going to do anyway. So
right. All right, guys, we are going to call it a night. Yes. I think we're going to try out and go do a dinghy adventure in the morning before. A drone and dinghy adventure.
Yeah, drone and dinghy cruise up through Jurassic Park tomorrow.
And move the boat a little bit more down the river, and then we'll be in Jacksonville. And then if you're coming to our village rally, we'll see you there. Have we considered a 24/7 live bow-mounted camera for YouTube? Oh, heck no. We are not...
24/7 streaming? No, that'd be a little bit crazy.
No way. I don't want... we love you guys, but...
we want to be able to turn you off.
Yeah. We want to turn us off. Because we really want our privacy, and we don't want people knowing where we are all the time.
Nope. Hey, thanks, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night. And I go... So let's go put this back over to the loop.